What's going on, everybody? Today we're watching a brand new space-related content. I'm talking about why space is horrifying. Let's get started.
So I was just thinking about space all night because I was watching a reaction by Joe Bartolozzi, and I was thinking, I want to check out the actual, like the original video that he did a reaction on. This is from the channel Big Tug, and this is titled "Every Reason Why Space is Horrifying," and it is. It is horrifying. And this is an 8-minute and 47-second video, and I was like, well, let's check it out. And then hopefully, and I kind of got that spark. It's like, let's do a reaction video to this. So without further ado, the link will be in the description down below, and let's check it out.
Are you happy and content with your day-to-day life? Do you feel like your mental health is relatively stable? Do you clock in and out at your 9-to-5 job happy as a clam, just excited for whatever adventure tomorrow may bring? Might I suggest thinking about outer space, because that'll f things up pretty good. Personally, I think we all take the concept of outer space for granted. It's something that we all learned really early on in life, so we're all just kind of used to it. But much like Mike...
So, I love outer space so much. You know, I have this really lifelong obsession. Like, most of my life, I have that obsession. I think it first started in, like, 4th grade. When, you know, because there was a poster in the back of our classroom. And I was like, I was so intrigued the first time I laid eyes on it. And it's just like, that's where I kind of sparked my reaction and my obsession to outer space. And this is why it's part of my whole life of, you know, having this lifelong obsession with outer space. So like I said, well, yeah. So in the comments down below, like, how did your lifelong obsession, you know, if you guys are into outer space, how did that start? And then, you know, why is space so meaningful? And why space is so meaningful, because I have that lifelong obsession, is because we live in this whole universe. We have trillions upon trillions of things. Who knows what's out there? You know, that's kind of why I kind of believe in aliens a little bit, because, you know, we have trillions of objects and billions of little planets. Who knows what could be on these planets? You know, we have advanced life out there. Who knows?
Microwaves or giraffes. The reality of the situation is a lot more scary than we think it is. So I just want to talk about all the things about space that makes my therapist a rich man, and I want to try and scare you guys as well. Not because I want to push any ill will upon my viewers, I just want you guys to understand me when I say that the sun is too hot. The sun is too hot. It's like 10 microwaves hot. So let's just talk about the basic facts of outer space that make me question the will of whatever omnipotent being is pulling my wet puppet strings. Disclaimer, all of these facts I have learned against my will, and the only way I continue going on in this mortal coil is to completely ignore these facts immediately after they exit my mouth. So you'll see me disassociate several times throughout this video. Number 1, sun's gonna die at one point. I can't mentally handle that. I think this is something we all know, but Jesus Christ, it's really hard to think about. I mean, it loses 1 billion pounds every second. That's not a made-up fact. It is shedding weight like Christian Bale getting ready for a movie. And then I think about this.
Okay, so, yes. So in the first 500 million to 1 billion years, the sun's luminosity increases over time. And it's still increasing every time. So it's every second, every minute, every hour, every day, every year. The sun's luminosity does increase, and temperatures do get hotter. So, in about 500 million to about 1 billion, the sun's luminosity will increase up to like what, 40% times its original luminosity right now. And then in the next probably 5 billion years, the sun will start losing and start burning all of its hydrogen and converting it to helium, where at this point we would call it a red giant. That's why, because the sun is so bloated, so big, where it's just puffing off all of its outer layers and expanding it, and to the point where we're engulfing Mercury, Venus, and our Earth, because it's so bloated and so red, where it's converting heavier elements. So once you get to that carbon and that's why there's a difference between a low mass star versus a high mass star. See, a low mass star like our sun will just burn from hydrogen to helium, and then once it gets to that carbon, will start to get a little heavier, the inward force of gravity will crush the core, and eventually all the outer layers will just become a nebula. That's why the sun will not explode, because it's not massive enough for it to explode. So high mass stars will do the same thing. It will burn off all the hydrogen and become helium, and eventually start, converting into heavier and heavier elements, until when it gets to iron, the star only has 1 entire second to live, and it will start exploding. And eventually, who knows, because the massive the star is, and a high mass, and the bigger it is, it can potentially form into a black hole. But high mass stars become like these giant spinning stars, little, I keep, like, what is it, fast spinning stars. Keep blanking on it. It's a neutron star or a pulsar. These are 716 times per second. These can spin. These are fast. They can rotate hundreds of times per second. And the fastest known spinning neutron star is PSR J1748-2446 AD. Rotates 716 times per second. I mean, that's terrifying. That's terrifyingly fast. And because, like I said, as the star collapses, the rotational speed, because the inward force of gravity, due to conversion of angular momentum, similar to a figure skater, spinning faster as they pull their arms in. Because, you put your arms in, the faster you get. Put your arms out, the slower it becomes. So that's why you can tell the difference between a high mass star and a low mass star.
Situation, and I'm like, well, it's a long time from now. Human beings will develop some space.
And then so when we go to our 13 billionth year, yes, the star will start becoming pulsating, and eventually our sun will eventually, in the next couple billion years, the star will pretty much, the outer layers will become a nebula. And eventually the core will be like an Earth-sized white dwarf that's slowly cooling. That can last trillions upon trillions upon trillions upon trillions of years. So, yeah, non-millions of years. Slowly cooling and then becoming a brown dwarf. So these zombie-like stars. Yeah, they can last, those things can last incredible amount of time. I might do a reaction video to the future of our universe, because this would be a very interesting video. I've seen that many times, and it's just like now we're getting into these massive amounts of time. It's crazy.
Or some shit, and we'll get out of here, right? But then I remember it's gonna die in 10 billion years, and then I think, no way humans are gonna last that long, because we're gonna blow each other up first.
And also, in that same event, you start having the collision between our Milky Way and the Andromeda Galaxy.
Then it gets sad. Number 2, it seems like everything explodes in outer space. Stars explode,
yes,
galaxies explode, and I'm pretty sure the moon's gonna explode. I don't have any scientific base.
So, guess what? Let me tell you something. Let's do some little facts. Did you know that every single second of this video, about 30 stars die? And in every single minute, about 1,800 stars die every single minute. And then it keeps increasing as you get bigger in our clock. As time units get bigger. And then you get about 30 million stars died in just 1 year alone. You increase the time units, you have more stars dying. And everything explodes in that sort of amount of time.
For that, but everything's terrible, so why not? And when these things do explode, it's not a little personal issue that they have. They take out everything around them really quickly. When a galaxy explodes, and I don't even understand that concept, it releases a burst of gamma rays that is so powerful it just eliminates planets in its way. I don't even know what a gamma ray is.
Not just planets, but anything. And these things can shred, and these things are more powerful. These are like millions to billions times more stronger than our sun itself. And these are fast, rapid rotations of light.
Why is it so powerful? Number 3, black holes are mobile. Black holes can move around. That one's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, most of them are stationary, but scientists have found one that's moving 3 million miles per hour. How fun. Just a rapid machine that's chewing up everything around it, time and space, just eating it like it's a snack. And it might be heading towards us.
Once you get in, you can never get out. Everything will be stretched to like spaghetti. Eventually, you'll be crushed no matter what.
Who fucking knows? Oh, and the moon's getting further away every year. That's dope. That's fantastic.
About 1 or 2 centimeters per year. About that.
Just every day, slipping out of our little human grasps, just gonna go off and do its own adventure. Which is a cute little idea, until you realize the Earth's gonna become an onslaught of tidal waves and confused raccoons that are looking for food in the middle of the day.
Exactly. So once the moon is that far away, then it's almost like that slingshot, you know, or you could pull like a rubber band and you let it go, it snaps back. That's kind of what the moon kind of does when you know, once you kind of expand its orbit and it's so far away, it can snap back and it can have big changes to the Earth once it's that far away. It can change the axial tilt, it can change the rotational speed. And then our tides. You'd have massive, massive tides that are higher than the pyramids, or even higher. And because the moon is that far away, crazy. And like I said, the orbital distance of a planet too, that can change it too, because planets do wobble out of their orbits. And that's why you have a gravitational effect, like a resonance, to keep it in balance. So if you have something that's not in balance, you can cause your planet to kind of slip off its orbit.
Because they don't know what happened to the moon. Oh, how about the fact that Earth is slowing down every year? It slows down a little bit, so days get a little bit longer every year. How fun. I don't know about you guys, but I think days are long enough, god damn it. Entropy is a son of a bitch. Everything just stops after a while. Oh my god. And how about meteors, dude? What the fuck is that? I don't know anything about any kind of science, but the fact that we have not been hit by a big enough rock to eliminate us, like the dinosaurs.
Well, every single day and every single second as the Earth orbits in its orbit, the Earth sometimes gets pummeled by little tiny asteroids. But we just don't know because they're just so small that they get burnt up in the atmosphere. And most places we do get a lot of, meteor showers. Yes, because all these little teeny tiny particles of just little rock that just burns up in the atmosphere and they just disintegrate. But they're just so small enough to just disintegrate into nothing. That's why you get like meteor showers. That's why. But chances like that, I mean, they're kind of low. But it just also depends on the speed. The mass and their speed. Yes, big objects can also get disintegrated to nothing because have enough speed, and friction always happens because that's why they burn up, because it's friction. And just also depends on, like I said, their material. If they're made of just pure metal, like pure iron, yes, that can cause a really massive problem. But like things are just mainly entirely of rock and a little bit of metal, they'll just easily just get disintegrated at high speeds.
Well, I mean, it's just a matter of time, right? This shit can happen at any time. We can all just explode. You just get a call from the government saying, hey, you got 5 minutes, and then boom. And you expect me to keep paying my taxes. Fuck you. And I guess the moon's actually shaped more like a lemon than a ball. which is not that scary, but the fact that no one told me that makes me real nervous. And what the fuck is antimatter? Why are there so many news stories about antimatter? Why did we just discover this unmeasurable effect across all of the universe? We just found out it's affected by...
Yes, antimatter, the exact opposite of our matter. See, if you have antimatter versus our matter, they can annihilate each other. So who knows what's out there that's mainly antimatter?
Gravity.
Who knows if we have another universe beyond ours that's the exact opposite, where it's everything's antimatter, but everything's still the same, but it's antimatter. If you have those two objects colliding, they can totally annihilate each other.
I don't know how they figured that out. I mean, scientists don't know anything. They actually don't know anything. I'm going to talk about that now. So if the only crumb of hope you're holding on to right now is the fact that, well, scientists know a lot of stuff about outer space, so I don't have to worry about it, you'd be an idiot. You'd be a dumb idiot. Yeah, scientists know a lot about space, but they know a lot less than what they know about in space. It's like a 1-to-3 ratio of shit they understand.
Like I said, I mean, we know a lot about it, but it's like I said, it's just because the universe is so massive. There's a lot of objects that don't follow a specific trajectory, or they don't follow a specific laws. They don't follow anything that we can comprehend. That's why when Uranus was discovered in 1781 by William Herschel, this is the first planet to ever be discovered by somebody. And because we already know Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, we just know those from the sky. Uranus was the first planet to be discovered. And that doesn't follow Newton's orbit. I said Newton's laws when it's in its orbit. So who knows what's out there? And then eventually, years later, we discovered Neptune, 1848, because of Laplace. That's where we got the term Laplacian mathematics and all the stuff, you know. When you go to, like, calculus, you know, Laplace transformations. That's that guy. And then, actually, so it's also Louvier. So William Herschel discovered Uranus, and it was actually originally named George, after his predecessor, King George III. And then you also, so if you follow something, the Newton's laws, and it comes later, and then you follow its orbit. And then Neptune was discovered because of math. So that doesn't follow Newton's laws at all. So who knows what's out there? That's why we kind of come up with the... So our obsession with Planet 9 actually comes from the day that Uranus was discovered. And then why we have Neptune followed by Uranus. And then, once we get to like 1930, well, we have the Lowell Observatory, and that was discovered. So the Lowell Observatory in Arizona, Clyde Tombaugh discovered something, just a tiny little object. Pluto was discovered, 1930. But people were like, well, how did you know that you found something? How big is it? What's its mass? How far is it? Pluto was discovered. 2006 it was demoted because it doesn't meet the criterias. Because it's so elongated and it's tipped 17 degrees outside of the plane of the solar system. But also it crosses that of another planet, Neptune's orbit. No other planet crosses into each other's orbit. That's why it was kicked out and demoted from our solar system. And I'm gonna get a lot of hate from this. But who knows? That's why we kept going with this obsession right now. Planet 9 is still out there. It's about 10 times as massive as our planet. And about 7 times more bigger than Uranus and Neptune, so who knows what's out there.
So I just want to call out all the stuff in the universe that we really don't have a full grasp on, and hopefully that'll get Neil deGrasse Tyson off his lazy ass and to get him to work. Number one, black holes. Mentioned them earlier. We don't have any idea what's going on there. We hear about them a lot in movies and TV shows, so we just assume it's like a well-known, thing in the universe. But no, it's an enigma. We have no fucking clue why they happen. We don't know how they're formed. I mean, we have an idea of like a star collapsing on itself, and then, that's the theory. But that's the theory. We've never seen it happen, nor do we have any real structural evidence for it. You're gonna hear that a lot in this video, by the way. It's a theory.
Exactly. That's, like I said, everything's a theory. Who knows? Like, you can use your imagination of what's happening right now. I'm going to say Betelgeuse has already exploded, but just the speed of light itself. So it takes about 642 years to get to our sensories because of light years. So a light year is basically light that takes 1 year to travel. So light travels in 1 year. That's the entire light year. So 642 light years. So Betelgeuse was probably already exploded, but it just takes 642 years to get to us. Or has not yet exploded, but still we won't know until 642 years. So anything like light years related, like if you go 642 years, you're looking at 642 years in the past. So you're looking at everything that happened right now. So if you're looking at the 1400s, probably the Renaissance.
Theory. I don't want theory, I want facts. I don't want just some, maybe this happened. I don't want any of that from a nerd scientist. I want you to show me the numbers. And we don't understand what happens when anything goes into a black hole. You might turn into a spaghetti strand.
And who knows? A black hole, and then it will be just a portal to a white hole. So a white hole is very much just an opposite of a black hole. Where that a black hole, when everything comes in, nothing gets out. A white hole, anything that comes through it will get just shot out of it. So who knows? There's another galaxy or another universe that's in this black hole. It's just a little wormhole, but much more dangerous because, like I said, you can get spaghettified and you can be crushed. And who knows what's inside of that thing, this inky black void that can take you anywhere.
And of a human being that's stretching across time and space, one of the most horrific ways to die, or you may just go right through it and end up in Ponyville. Who fucking knows? Or get this, gravity? No idea why that happens. Scientists have no idea why gravity happens. They understand how it behaves and they can measure it, but when it comes to understanding the sole reason for it, no fucking clue, dude.
And who do we have to thank for it? Isaac Newton. The day that the apple fell on his head. Or that's how that story goes. And he calculated the speed and trajectory of everything falling to the ground. So gravity, when things go up, things must come down. And there's a force and a speed behind it. And we know how it behaves. But, when things go up, things come down. That's just the behavior.
Go to bed. Don't worry about it, dude. We have it under control. Scientists have also detected things called gravitational waves and ripples in space-time. Yeah. They've been able to detect them. Don't know what the fuck they are. I'm so scared.
So very much, when you have an object orbiting another object, and like two almost the same mass, as they kind of do this gravitational dance, their resonance of their orbit, and how it changes as they get closer and closer and closer, and they speed up so fast, it can cause ripples.
I curse the name of Isaac Newton. I could have been ignorant to all this. I could have been a monkey happy banging a rock against a bigger rock. And now I have to worry about ripples in space-time. Also, there's this thing called the Great Attractor. The Great Attractor is the center of the universe where all matter and mass is pulled into all the time.
Yep.
What does that mean? Every galaxy, including our own, is slowly moving towards, well, not slowly, it's moving really fast, but we're all moving towards this center spot. And I don't know what's going to happen when we get there. No one knows what happens when we get there.
That's terrifying. That's terrifying.
I'm assuming it's going to be God, and I'm assuming he's going to be angry. And finally, we have the ultimate fate of the universe, which we don't know what's going to happen. But do your homework. Don't worry about it. We know the universe is constantly expanding, but after that little factoid, we don't know anything. Will the universe just continue to expand until we're all so far?
Well, here's the thing. I think when you get into like a Google, we don't particularly know, but I might do a reaction to that video, like I said. It will keep expanding and expanding and expanding, but there's some consequences as it expands. as the universe expands more, then everything gets so far apart. And it's where you can get the big freeze. Everything's so far apart. There's nothing. There's no fuel to keep stars and galaxies alive. Because it's so far away that, as the universe expands, then everything's just dead. And when we get to like a Google, everything will just die, and then eventually more time goes by. Time is meaningless. So now, once the universe becomes a big freeze, or even though it can also rip apart into two, and it becomes two separate bubbles, or many bubbles. But like I said, that's just what happens in the Google, in just one Googleplex, one entire Google.
Far apart that there's infinite nothingness? That's fun. That's not scary at all. Or will it begin to contract and everything melts together to one fiery, hot, massive ball that just begins the universe once again? Also horrifying. Or the most fun option of all is number 3, which is no idea. Some random shit might happen. A dragon might come out of a portal and just start spitting out new life forms. We had no clue. We had know so little about the universe. So I started to have a little bit of a panic attack at the end of that last one, so I wanted to lighten the mood by Googling funny planets that are around the universe, because there's gotta be a couple of them, right? No, I thought there'd be a moment of brevity in this hellscape of a universe, but it turns out every planet is just its own version of hell. All of them have different characteristics that are a masochist's wet dream. So let's just go over them now, and hopefully I can get through it without crying. We have one called HD189733B, or...
Yep.
Blue Hell, if you're not a nerd.
I think because it can rain glass, you can get shredded.
It's 63 light years away, and they call it Blue Hell because it's got this really pretty blue color. And if you thought this place was just a big blue ocean planet that you can go swimming in, you'd be wrong, because it's over 1,000 degrees Celsius. And
Yep. I think this can also rain glass. Rain fire glass.
I don't even want to know the Fahrenheit, because then I'll have a better American understanding of the situation, and I don't need that. It also constantly is windy, up to speeds of 4,500 miles per hour, and it rains glass sideways.
Exactly.
Oh my god. Then we have one called 55 Cancri, whatever, it's the diamond.
55 Cancri. Also, I'm going to look up the estimate of this planet, because it's entirely made out of carbon, and once you get carbon to high heat, it makes diamonds. So, how much is 55 Cancri? I think it's about 384 quintillion times the Earth's GDP. No, wait, never. So it's estimated at $26.99 million. How many zeros? Oops. Are in a nonillion. That is 10 followed by 30 zeros. $26.99 million. 26.9 times 10 to the 30th. Several quadrillion times greater than Earth's GDP. 384 quadrillion times the Earth's GDP in total. Crazy.
Planet. It's twice the size of Earth, and it's just covered in super hard diamonds all over it, because the pressure and the temperature is so intense that it just turned everything into rock. Hard rock. Expensive, pretty rock, but hard rock. It's like some kind of fucked up Adventure Time plotline. I'm sure I can find an image of an Adventure Time episode that has something like this going on. It's awful. And then we have GJ1214b, otherwise known as Waterworld, which is not the horrible movie, but it's almost as bad. This whole planet is primarily composed up of water, but in different forms. So gas, liquid, and it has ice that is so hard it acts as a certain type of metal. I don't know any of this shit, but it did change scientists' perception of what a planet can be, because it's 25% rock and 75% water, which does not make sense on a planetary scale.
And that's kind of what's crazy, we always see like these Earth-like planets could be closer to finding life on other planets, like these Earth-like planets. And right now, it's crazy that we're already looking at Mars, and it's been going on for a long time. Who knows what's going to be happening on Mars, Mars is our nearby neighbor that once had life, But eventually, about 3.8 billion years, everything changed. But we're still looking at potential of living on Mars one day. Now we're seeing many of life forms on other planets, like these Earth-like planets, are potentially, we're getting much closer to finding life on these Earth-like planets, and there's billions of more of those Earth-like planets. Who knows if they're so perfect, teeming with life that Earth is having right now.
So, we don't know anything. Last but not least, we have Gliese 436, otherwise known as, and this is not a joke, the Burning Ice Planet. Riddle me that. It's this planet that's covered in this super thick layer of dense ice, but in the middle of it is a magma core, which doesn't make any goddamn sense. And this weird setup creates a new form of matter called hot ice. What? Scientists are...
Yes, because also the planet is large and has a lot of gravity, even though it's so close to its sun. It's massive enough. Its gravity keeps everything in a solid form. So any water, like liquid water, keeps everything in an ice form, even though it's so high and so close to its star. The gravity.
Quoted as being flabbergasted about this new form of planet, and they're trying to come up with some physics bullshit explanation to make this shit work in our current understanding of the universe. And you know what they're gonna do? They're not gonna do that. We cannot figure this shit out. None of it makes sense. So, in conclusion, I have made zero progress throughout this video. I thought maybe I would kind of joke around and come up with something that makes me feel better. Nothing happened. I just feel worse. In conclusion, you should be more scared, I guess. This was very unproductive for both me and you. Just start living like you're on borrowed time. Buy a lottery ticket. Rob a convenience store, because the meteor is going to hit any minute. The chances of getting hit by a meteor are so unbelievably high. You need to be worried about it. Take out a credit card. Run those numbers up. Put the credit card in your toddler's name and make him have a terrible credit score, because he's probably not going to see the day where he has to pay that debt. New videos every Saturday. Thank you for watching, and the big yellow one is...
Wow, I actually learned so much, Space is horrifying. It is. You get through massive, unit of time that gets bigger and bigger. Now, stars are dying, things are exploding. Yeah, space is horrifying. There's so much we don't know about our universe, but, we're getting closer and closer to knowing more, Who knows? Where's the aliens? I love to see some aliens.
It's the sun. Thank you so much.
Alrighty. Well, that's where we're going to end off on today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I might just do a video reacting to the future of our universe. That would be the next video. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.